you found yourself at ground zero of a crisis of inclusion. And so judging from what we read and heard, you played a very hands-on role through what Uber went through this summer. So I'm curious about both, in a room full of people that include corporate directors and deal with corporate directors, about how you worked out how you were going to act to help the company through that period and what you learned.
So it started in February, actually. And now you say it's the summer, but it's longer than the summer. It started in February, the crisis, with a blog post by Susan Fowler about incidents of sexual harassment, mismanagement, and professional behavior in the company. I was the only woman on the board. And a lot of the accusations were of a sexist culture. So I got involved right away. I spoke at the first all hands that we had after the crisis. And I promised that the board would hold management's feet to the fire, would conduct a full investigation. We brought in Eric Holder. I chaired the board subcommittee that oversaw the Holder investigation. And I made a few kind of pronouncements during that first all hands to reassure the 14,000 employees, some of whom were in the San Francisco headquarters, others were watching around the world, that change would be coming. And one of the things that most resonated with people is to address the culture of hypergrowth that, of course, brought Uber to this amazing place it is now to be a $70 billion unicorn, but also had costs for the culture and ultimately costs for the business. And the main cost that went along with the hypergrowth culture was a worshipping of top performers, a cult of top performers. If you're a top performer delivering growth, a lot was forgiven you. I named top performers who misbehaved, brilliant jerks. And, and I announced at that all hands that Uber would become a place of zero tolerance for brilliant jerks. And we actually proved, when the Holder investigation results were announced, when the board unanimously adopted all their recommendations and let go of a total of about 26 people, many of them in senior positions, the message was very clear to the company that we meant business, that we were willing, from the board to the executives across the company, to bring about fundamental changes.
So the brilliant jerks notion, I'm curious about, because while probably everyone would love for their executive team to be brilliant mensches and brilliant women, that there is an important role that brilliant jerks have probably played in the success of many companies. Did you feel a pushback from any quarter about the risk of losing those performers and not having a certain flexibility in what you would tolerate in those
No,
leaders?
because, and this is really the theme of this conference, the world has changed. And what happens now in the culture of a company affects business metrics. It's no longer as if the culture is a nice to have, and then the executives and the CEO can focus on hardcore metrics like quarterly earnings or EBITDA and profitability. The two are very aligned.